This is an art attack. This is an art attack. This is Art Attack! Ah, hello there. Now then, have you got a really special photograph that you want to frame but can't afford one of those fancy, expensive frames? What you need is one of these. A sponge frame. Come and have a look at this. Now, if you want to make this type of sponge frame, you need one of those sponge cloths that you can get from supermarkets. Now, you can get them in packs, multicoloured packs, for about £1.50 a pack. Now, you need to take one of those and draw 4 ruler width strips on it. So I've got my ruler here. I'm doing it in felt tip pen so you can really see it. There's 1 strip, 2 strips, very easy to draw on these sponge cloths, 3 strip and 4 strips. And then just cut those strips so that you have something like that. Or you can cut the strips from different coloured cloths. I like doing this. And then it's a case of laying them down smooth side up and then just arrange them in a square like that. And you can see I'm just offsetting the edges there. And eventually you'll end up back at the beginning with a square. And that will frame your photograph. Now, if you're using a smaller photograph, just pop your photograph in there for size and just adjust these strips to the size of your photograph. And then, obviously, you just have to trim off those excessive edges. Then when you've done that, glue the strips together. Now, there's a special technique involved here. Take some PVA glue and just identify all those edges that you want to join together and literally load them up with PVA glue. There's one in there, like that, and see, I'm putting plenty of glue on here because look at that. These sponge cloths literally drink the glue. They're so porous. I'm going to put another one on here. And the idea is not to bond these joints together at this stage, but just let this layer of glue dry for about 15 minutes, and hopefully the glue will clog up all those porous holes in the sponge. Then add another layer of glue on. Now, I'm just doing it here quickly to show you. You should wait 15 minutes in between each layer of glue and then just stick those joints together like that, pressing them very firmly together. And then, for extra strength, you need a strip of tape across each of those joints. And when you've done all 4 joints, you'll have something that looks like that. Look at that, a multicoloured sponge frame. If you turn it the other way up, so you've got the bobbly side up, it gives it a better finish. And then you just pop your photograph in there, line it up, and stick it into place. And there it is, and very nice too. Now, if you want to do one of these style frames, what I've used here is ordinary scouring sponges. Again, you can get them from the supermarket. You can get lots of different colours, different shapes, and again, they're very cheap. And another technique involved here, the idea is to split it in 2 lengthways, right down the middle. And the best way to do that is to just snip into the edges. Now, you have to be very careful when you're doing this. Just watch your fingers. Just snipping in all the way round the edge like that. And you know my motto, if in doubt, get someone else to do it. Be careful with your fingers. And when you've done it, eventually, you get round to the beginning and you'll have split it in 2. And then just put your sponges into position, and you need a couple of them there, and put them around your photograph, depending on the size of your photograph. And again, same technique. Just put them into position, glue them again, 2 layers, let 1 layer dry to clog up all the holes, and eventually you'll have a fantastic multicoloured sponge frame that looks like that. Look at that. And you see what I've done on the back here? I've stuck my photograph onto a piece of card and even taped it onto the back of the sponge, or you could glue it into position, and there it is. I think it looked great on the wall, that. And there's lots of different types of sponge you can get, lots of different shapes. You just get them from the supermarket. Look at those shapes across the top there, a bit like bread. Well, it's not, it's sponge. And lots of different colours you can buy. Try it yourself, a multicoloured sponge frame.
Oh, those are nice, soft, squidgy frames. Hello! Yes, it's me again, the head. Now, you can get those sponges everywhere. Carefully cut them up, and when you're gluing the joins, do them once, wait a while, and do them again, so that they stick together really well. Otherwise, that might happen. Oh...
Oi! You! That! Go!
Egypt? Right. I'll show him. I don't know who he thinks he is. This calls for a big heart attack.
Oh, yes, that's very good. And having travelled all the way around the world, I can categorically say that picture is extremely Egyptian. Or so I Sphinx. Egyptian Sphinx.
If you want to make your artwork look really spooky, here's a good tip. Make it drip. OK, let's start with some spooky lettering. Here's a letter I've drawn in pencil, and I'm just going to make it look spooky by making it go all drippy and droopy. Look at this. Ugh. Just dripping off those bottom edges, around the bottom of the T, and again, off this cross arm of the T, all dripping off like that. And there is a spooky T. All right, let's try it with another letter. Let's try it with this E. Again, the same thing, make it go all droopy and floppy and start dripping off the bottom edge down there. Look at that, big chunks of it dripping down. And you're just looking for those bottom edges. There's another one, just all dripping. And again, this next bottom edge. And then those other lines are just wobbly lines like that. And you could even do chunks of it dripping down there, and maybe chunks of it and dollops just sliming off the edge. Look at that. And if you want to make it look even more spooky, colour it in. Colour it in pimple yellow. That looks really horrible, doesn't it? Let's see. And pimple yellow and, let's see, I know, sour milk green. There's that on there like this. And this mix of green and yellow makes it start to look like some sort of dripping gunge or ectoplasm gunk. There it is. And if you do a whole word in exactly the same style, it looks really effective. Look at that. Green looks horrible, but the red looks even worse. It looks like dripping blood. And spooky drips work with other things. What about this? Here's a man I've drawn. Now, I've just drawn it lightly in pencil to start with, because what I'm going to do is make him go all drippy, and his head's going to start dripping. Look at that. And then his arms are going to go all droopy and drippy. His fingers are dripping off. And just again, looking for the undersides of his arms, and again, under his feet and under his legs, and all just bits of gunk dripping off. He looks like a bit of a zombie, doesn't he? Very spooky. And again, the underside there, bits dripping off, drippy fingers, nice long drippy fingers. I'm going to draw chunks of him coming off, maybe a finger coming off like that, and a couple of drips of gunk underneath. And I think I'll give him a really droopy face, just in there like that. Just make him look really spooky, and a droopy mouth. Look at that. Wouldn't like to meet him on a dark night. And here's a good way of doing a very simple drippy ghost. Just take a pencil to start with and do a very light circle like that, and then a stick body and stick arms. Now I'm just going to hang a dripping sheet over that frame, and again just dripping off the edge of the frame there, just all falling apart, all this gunk dripping and drooping. Yeah. And there it goes over the top of the head. And just to finish it off, I think I'll do bits of gunk coming away from it like that. Just all gunge, big clumps. And then finally, just this droopy face of the ghost. And when you've done it in ink like this with a felt tip pen, you can just rub out those pencil lines and you're left with a drippy, droopy ghost. Try it yourself. Make your artwork spooky with spooky drips.
Oh, frighteningly good tip, that. Just draw loads of drippy, droopy goo on things to make them look really horrible and spooky. Works well, doesn't it?
Hi, I'm Sia. I made my moving parts picture out of pieces of card and split pins.
Hi, I am Kieran. I have made my teacher's ears wobble by using card and split pins.
Hello, my name is Roti. When I pull it, someone's tie his ears wobble.
Cheeky ideas, wiggling ears using split pins and card. And you know what, believe it or not, they did that art attack in this science lesson. Well, why not? And it's all based on this wiggling ear mechanism. Take a piece of thin card and draw around a 30 centimetre ruler twice. Now, I always use pencil at this stage, just in case I make a mistake. I can always rub it out or go over it or just neaten it up a little bit. And the idea is to create two 30-centimetre strips like this around your ruler and then divide one of them in half. I'm just doing this quickly to show you. You can measure it more accurately. And then at the edge of that, draw two ears. One ear and one over ear, like that, right at the edge of those strips. And when you're happy with your ear shape, go over it in pen, just using a felt tip pen here. And you can do the little bits in the middle of the ears, like that. Do both ears, and then cut both strips out, and you'll have something that looks like that. Two strips and one ear strip, and then cut the ear strip in half down the middle, like that, and then take the big strip and just mark a point a couple of centimetres in from the end and a couple of centimetres in from the edge, like that. Place some sticky tack underneath it, and then use a very sharp pencil to just pop a hole through that strip. Just be careful when you're doing this. That's why I've put sticky tack underneath. And then take one ear strip and just place that underneath like that, and use that first hole as a guide to pop a hole through one ear strip, and then again position your second ear strip under the first strip and just pop another hole through using the first hole as a guide. Through it goes like that. Then take a split pin. Now you can get these split pins from stationery shops, or you might have some lying around school, and just pop a split pin through all three pieces of card. One through there, one through there. A bit fiddly, but keep at it. Turn it over and then split the pin. Hence, split pin. And then just mark a point halfway between each ear and the split pin. And again, I'm just doing it quickly to show you, you should measure it. Halfway point between each ear and the middle. And again, take your sticky tack and sharp pencil, pop that hole through one, and pop it through the other one like that. Then take another piece of thin card and just place your wiggling ear mechanism on top like that, and just mark a pencil mark through both of those holes there, and then mark the inside of the ears, because the idea is to then draw a head that's the same width as the ears. Now I'm just going to draw a cartoon head here. You can make it as funny or as silly as you like, and just using those ear marks as the width of the head. And those two marks you made through the wiggling ear mechanism are now the centre of the eyes. And just make this face really crazy. Put some real zany, spiky hair there. You can model it on someone, maybe a cartoon character, maybe even your teacher, maybe your science teacher. There we are. And just a funny nose in there. You can do any design. Some silly cheeks in there, like that. And again, I'm using pencil, so I can alter the design if I'm not too happy with it. Just keep making adjustments as I go along. And when you're happy with the silly face, just go over it in pen, again, felt tip pen, cut the whole thing out, and you have something that looks like that. And I've even popped two holes through those eye marks, and then take your wiggling ear mechanism and just pop a split pin through each eye, one there and one there, turn it over and pin your wiggling ear mechanism, or your WEM. That's it, and look at that, right through there, no messing. And open the pin out, and then turn it back over, and give it a good old wiggle. And you could always colour it in using felt tip pen or crayons, or you could even paint it. And if you're going to paint it, don't forget to paint behind the ears. And again, just wiggle away. Try it yourself. A couple of split pins, a couple of pieces of card, and create a wiggling ear mechanism. And I'll see you next time. Ta-ra!
Ta-da! It's all right here.